Good evening, everyone. Someone had mentioned in the comment section a few weeks ago about they wish they had confidence to fly a drone. And this was on video footage that I created where I'm flying above and near trees and dipping down into a river, flying over a lake, going down low and coming up high, and for some distance from where I launched from. Now, I want to say here that gaining confidence to fly a drone did not come overnight. Several years ago, when I purchased my first drone, it was the Mini 2, I was terrified to even launch it and take it out, say, 10 yards in front of me. It was just one of those stressful experiences. But I took baby steps, and even taking those baby steps, say, after 6 months of ownership of that drone, I still wasn't fully confident. And I really did not use all of the nav aids, that's the navigational aids, on the remote controller. Now, the Mini 2 did not have the features that the newer drones, namely the Mini 4 Pro, such as the 360 optical avoidance and other features. So it just took time for me to gain confidence. In fact, back in March of 2022, I was down in Panama for about 10 days, and I'm flying over a beach, and I thought I lost my drone. Why? Because I could no longer see it in the sky. But all I had to do was to look down at the navigational aid on the remote controller and basically see where the drone was in relation to me. But you see, at that time, I did not know how to use it. So let me mention here briefly that one of the best things that you can do as a new drone pilot is to learn how to use the nav aids, that is the navigational aids on your drone. Now, I have the RC2 controller here. You're looking at it, and the Mini 4 Pro sitting on the hood of my car. I want to direct your attention to the lower left-hand corner of the screen, and you're looking at what looks like a compass. That is more accurately called an attitude indicator, and it has a compass embedded within it. And to the right of that, you have the white lettering there, one on the top right now showing 0 feet, 0 miles per hour. That's how high the drone is. Below that, you see the distance the drone is away from you. Now, at present, it is showing that the drone is 9.4 feet away from me. That is a little bit inaccurate because the drone is sitting about, I would say, 6 feet away from me, and it's sitting on the hood of my car. But I believe that that reading is inaccurate because I'm sitting inside of the car surrounded by metal. But to the left of that is the attitude indicator. And you notice three things within it. There are other things, but the three major things that you'll see there is that blue triangle. That is the drone itself. And notice that the drone right now is oriented in a southeasterly direction. And just under that, there is a blue circle. That is the RC2 controller, the remote controller. And on that blue circle, there is a blue arrow. The blue arrow shows the direction that the RC2 controller is pointing at, or pointing in rather. And you see the yellow circle with the H in it. That's the home point. That is where the drone will take off from. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to take the drone up. I'm going to do a time lapse. I'm going to take it up at about 300 feet and just look around and see if there's anything up there worth doing a time lapse on. And then I'll talk more about the attitude indicator. It is really quite simple to use. So I'm going to start recording over here, and then I'm going to launch the drone. And let's go straight up. Before you take off, make sure you have your home point set. You're going to hear that because the controller is going to tell you that the home point is set. Yeah, nice clouds out there. That would probably make for a very nice time lapse. Not a whole lot of wind, so we're probably not going to see a wind warning. But I'm going to take it up 300 feet. and I'm going straight up. I'm not moving forward or anything. So notice that on the attitude indicator, that everything is like layered on top of each other. Also, on the attitude indicator, you're going to see two colors there. There's like a grayish color and a green. Where you see that green, and it's almost even with that the middle of the attitude indicator, that's very useful. That's your artificial horizon. But on a windy day, that could be angled to the left or right. That simply shows that there's wind up there. And the gimbal is going to compensate and do its best to keep everything level. Now, on a time lapse, you don't want to do a time lapse on days when it's very windy because the drone is going to struggle. Notice that the drone is oriented in a southeasterly direction. Now I'm going to spin around. And I'm going to bring it to the south. How do I know that the drone is pointing to the south now? Because if you look at the attitude indicator, the drone itself, that's a blue triangle, is pointing straight south. How about west? Let's continue until west is directly in front of the drone. Just imagine that you're flying in an airplane. That drone icon never moves. So now we're pointing to the west. All right, let's continue. Next up will be north. And you'll notice that the north indication there is encased in white. So now the drone is pointing straight north. I know that Washington, D.C. is in that direction. Let's take it to where we're oriented to the east. And now the drone is oriented east. I think that this would make a decent time lapse. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to do a time lapse. I'm going to stop recording here. And I'm going to select hyperlapse. And let's do some settings here. Interval, I like flying in 2-second intervals. My length, I'm going to do a 20-second time lapse. Let's select that since I have enough battery there. It's locked it in. My interval, I'm going to do 0.2 miles per hour. Let's lock that in. And then, oops, I forgot to do something here. Let's go back. Let's select course lock. I forgot. Okay. Now let's go out and let's double check our settings. 2 seconds. Interval 20 seconds length. Speed is 0.2 miles per hour. I'm going to tap on that lock icon to lock that in and then click start. So we don't have a lot of wind today, which is a good thing for doing time lapses. Well, I should say not a whole lot of wind if you want to capture the clouds moving by. The drone will be creeping forward 0.2 miles per hour. And I always know where my drone is by looking at the attitude indicator and the information to the right of it. I know that the drone is 320 feet high. It is approximately 13 feet away from me, and it's moving slowly at 0.2 miles per hour. The drone itself is oriented to the east. I'm getting that information from the attitude indicator. And as the drone continues to move forward, notice that the yellow home point, that's the home point, that's where I launched from, will move further away from the drone down toward the west because the drone is moving 0.2 miles per hour ahead. And the blue circle, that's the remote controller. That's where I'm sitting in the car. Now, notice that blue arrow that's sitting on the blue circle. Right now, it's pointing in a northeasterly direction. But if I orient it to where it's facing east, let me do this. I'm going to step out of the car to do it. So right now I'm pointing in the general direction of the drone, east. That gives me the optimal signal. Why is that useful? Well, if you look at the upper right-hand corner, you have signal strength bars. Right now, all 5s. Suppose you're out here flying and you're getting quite some distance away from the drone. What you can do is orient your drone or your RC2 controller to where it is facing the drone itself, and you have an optimal signal strength. Something else that gives me confidence, let me get back in the car. Something else that gives me confidence when flying this drone, the Mini 4 Pro, is that I can trigger a return to home manually and bring the drone back to me. And all I have to do is simply yaw the drone to where that yellow H is directly in front of the drone, and then push forward on the left stick, and the drone will come back to me, while at the same time observing the distance to the left. When it gets around 0, I know that the drone is sitting almost on top of me, and I'll be able to hear it as well. The second thing is that if the drone and controller lose signal, the drone will automatically trigger a return to home. So that builds confidence, knowing that I won't lose my drone. The third thing that gives me confidence is that if the battery depletes to a certain level, a return to home is automatically generated. And of course, I can also press the return to home button on the screen or on the controller itself, and the drone will return to home. All those things in combination really builds confidence. My only fear when piloting a drone are birds. Birds are unpredictable, especially the large ones. So you have to know the area in which you're flying. I'm not mad at a bird if they attack my drone, because see, up there, that's their domain, and I'm intruding on their airspace. So what am I saying here? Learn how to use the attitude indicator. Now, if you tap on that arrow to the lower left-hand corner and tap on it again, it brings up a map like this. And you tap on the map, you can expand it. And what this is showing me here is showing me the direction that the drone is flying in. It's showing the flight path. I can use this by orienting the drone, and it's turning it around to where it's pointing directly at the yellow circle with the H in it. Now, there's a line right behind the drone. I can also use that line by turning the drone around and having the front of that drone traverse right along that line, and it'll bring it back to me. Now, along this flight path, you will see there's a red dot. What is that? That is how far the drone can go, and you have enough battery life to get it back to you. What will happen is once the drone gets to that point, it will trigger an automatic return to home. So there are lots of tools here that you can use to help you know where your drone is and get it back to you. Learn how to use these nav aids. I'm going to tap on the image, lower left-hand corner again, and it brings this up. I'm going to tap on the icon in the lower left-hand corner and bring up my attitude indicator again. I prefer to fly and navigate my drone using the attitude indicator. There's lots of information there. Learn how to use it. And once you become comfortable using this nav aid, along with the other information that you see on the screen, directly to the right, of the attitude indicator, that really does build confidence. So if I was just out here flying a drone without doing this time lapse or hyperlapse, I can dip down and go down, say, 100 feet, 90 feet, 80 feet, down to this river here that you see on the screen, and still know how high the drone is, say 100 feet. I can bring it up, I can turn it around. I know exactly where my drone is at all times, how high it is, how fast it's going. All that is right here. Learn how to use it. And one of the great things about these drones, the newer DJI drones, is that they're basically self-policing. Like I just showed you, that red dot on that flight path, the drone's going to automatically trigger or return to home. It's going to tell you that, hey, you can't go any further. If you go any further, you're taking a chance. So it's going to bring itself back to you with some battery life still to spare. So I'm looking at the time lapse status. I have about 6 minutes remaining on this time lapse, and I have 18 minutes of battery life. So I'm good. Now I'm going to generate a return to home. Notice what the attitude indicator will do. Return to home. See how that yellow H, the drone simply turned around. Now it's coming back to me. And I can let it land itself. But I don't want it to land on the hood of the car because it could slip off and fall. So I'll let it come down to the point where I can see it. And you can see that little shadow icon right there. I'm going to have that come back towards me a little bit. And then move it over to the left just slightly. That way it's going to land directly in front of my Jeep without having to land on the hood. There it is. Mission complete. So that's basically how I build confidence in flying a drone. I'm still learning, but I feel a whole lot more comfortable now and confident now than I did, say, 2 years ago. So don't be too hard on yourself if you're a new drone pilot. Practice, 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 and learn how to use and trust the nav aids on your remote controller. So here's the result of the hyperlapse footage. In the meantime, you guys take care.